Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I am so excited about today's video. I have been waiting for the day that I could review the whole entire Powerless trilogy as well as the novellas, and I have just finished reading Fearless like 3 days ago. Fearful. I just finished reading it 3 days ago, so I am prepared and ready to give a review. And if you hear any noise, it's just that my son is playing, and so if you hear some noise, hopefully it's not too distracting. But we are going to talk about Powerless. So Powerless is Lauren Roberts' first book, and it's absolutely shocking. So Lauren Roberts literally self-published Powerless at the age of 18, if I'm not mistaken. So she did that, and she did a phenomenal job, and I must say that I am impressed. She literally blew me out of the water, and Powerless is the story of Kai and Peyton, and in this world, they have ordinaries and elites. And elites, I believe it was 100 years previous, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but a certain period of time before the opening of the book, there was a plague that went through and changed certain people into elites, which gave them certain powers. The ordinaries are the people who don't have powers, they're just normal people. And so the king has decided that he is going to get rid of all of the ordinaries by killing them. So basically, ordinaries are not allowed to be in this country, and that country is named Ilia. So we have the king who's trying to get rid of all the ordinaries, and the way that he does that is by killing them. And he has two sons. One of them is named Kit, and the other one is named Kai. We have those two boys, and Kit is essentially being trained to become the next king, and Kai is the king's enforcer, and he is the guy who goes out and does the king's dirty work, and he is a very evil murderer. He kills, and he is just cold-hearted, and he is very brutal. So he is basically the one who goes and tries and exterminates the ordinaries for the king. And then we have Peyton, and Peyton is an ordinary, and she was raised in the slums of Ilia, of the city there. I'm kind of blanking on the name of the city, but she was raised there, and she was raised by her dad, and her mom is not in the picture. I believe she passed away early on. Kai and Peyton meet, and she gains the attention of the king by saving Kai's life, and so she literally gets into the trials, and it is a wild ride, and Kai and Peyton are literally the best. Like, I am not even a romance girly. I'm not super invested in romance books that much, but this, I ate it up, and I was invested from the start. Just the language, the writing of the book was so good, and I 100% gave it 5 stars, and I'm also 100% going to be reading that book again someday. I loved it so much. I also borrowed all of these books from the library, both on my Kindle and in paperback form, so I actually don't have any of the books. So that's the first book. And then we go into the second book, and that book is Reckless. So Reckless is different from Powerless, and I have seen a lot of people, they read Powerless and they're just like enamored with this amazing story, and they go into Reckless expecting more of the same, like, plot heavy type of book. Reckless is very different from Powerless in that it follows Kai and Peyton through their journey, because there's a huge plot twist at the end of Powerless that I'm not going to give away. They are going through the desert, they're going through different cities, they're going through, actually, a lot of it is going through the desert, and it's more of a character study. It's not very heavy on the plot. It's more about the characters and just revealing a few more things that Peyton needs to know about her past. And so it's just following them in their journey of learning to find themselves and growing and becoming who they were actually supposed to be. And I personally loved it. I actually ate it up. I was invested. I was enjoying the whole thing. I can see, though, if you were expecting more of what Powerless was, that it would be disappointing and you would not be as interested in it. But I was fully into it. So I did give it 5 stars. And at the end there is another plot twist that totally punches you in the gut and it makes you want to be like going into the third book. I gave it 5 stars and I really loved it. And then you go into Fearless, and Fearless was my very first book that I read in 2026, and it was not a disappointment. I feel like Fearless was a bit more like Powerless, a little bit different, but kind of more of the same vibes. Fearless was, if I can remember right, it starts with them back at the palace, and we have some different dynamics and different relationship holes going on. I don't think I'm gonna say because I don't want to give out any spoilers. I prefer going into books blind, so I'm going to try to treat it like that. Hayden actually has to go through another series of trials, and so I've heard people complain that they were too similar to Powerless, but in my opinion, I didn't feel that way. I actually thought they were very well done, and I really enjoyed how Lauren Roberts wrote the book. So I can't remember all of the trials that she went through, but I do remember the one in particular was absolutely gut wrenching, absolutely just pulled the rug out from under me, and I was literally screaming, and it was like the worst possible things that could happen happened, and I was just like glued to the page. It was absolutely phenomenally well done. The last like quarter of the book I feel like was a little bit harder to get through because there was a lot of information that we were getting. So I remember feeling a little bit sluggish maybe, but I also was just trying to read it because I needed to finish the book so that I could move on. So maybe it was partly that as well, but I do remember feeling just a touch sluggish towards the end of it, but it was still very interesting. It was still very well done. I gave Fearless 4.5 stars. The ending was very well done, and I really did enjoy how Lauren Roberts wrapped it up and made it like complete. It felt really well done to me. And just throughout the whole trilogy, I love Kai and Peyton. Like, I just ate up their relationship. I ate up their chemistry. I ate up their banter. It just, like, it did it for me, and I loved it. Every second of it. I feel like I would read more about them. Like, I just loved them so much. And then we have the novellas. So we have Powerful, which is about Hayden's best friend, Adina, and she is a very, very, very sad part of the book, and she is heartbreaking. It's absolutely heart-wrenching and it will make you cry. Though Powerful was different because it showed more of Adina's backstory and her love story, her relationship with Mac, and it was very well done. I gave Powerful 5 stars. I really, really loved that book. And then we have Fearful, and I was unsure what to expect of Fearful. I didn't really know what was going to happen, but I did go into it completely blind, not really knowing anything. And I was more disappointed with that book than I was with the others. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, and honestly, I think that's the book that I was actually the most disappointed in. We just follow Kit and find his backstory and just read more about his experiences and his like behind the scenes struggles. At some point, Kit does become king, and he is just going through a lot. I'm just gonna say that. And so Kit is, we just follow his backstory. So he is meeting a woman, which I guess it says in the blurb that it's actually Death that he meets. And it's actually pretty fascinating watching their interactions, watching him navigate that. But I didn't really feel very emotionally invested. Like, I just didn't really feel as connected. And also, we don't see Kai or Peyton like hardly at all. And we do follow a different couple in their love story, kind of behind the scenes of that, which actually was pretty eye-opening. I was glad to see that, and I was glad that we saw Lauren Roberts give this other couple more of a seat at the table, because it kind of felt like we did need that explanation. I at least personally felt that way. So I liked that. But yeah, I just didn't really feel as emotionally invested in it, didn't really connect with me as much. So that one was the one that I actually put down and felt just a little bit disappointed. Overall, I love Powerless. I love all the books. They have my heart, and I'm just going to let them live rent free in my head forever. And I definitely am reading them again one day. If you are considering reading this series, I would highly recommend it. And also, the other thing I forgot to say is I loved that they did not have any spice. There was no spice, and I find that it's hard to find good romance without spice scenes in it. And so I just really appreciated that there was no spice, and it just was a very well done character study and very inspiring, very well done. I just really enjoyed it all around. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I would love to see you again in this corner of the internet. So thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you thought of the books in this series, and I will see you again. Bye.